there! Welcome to this episode of Canadian Retro Things. So today I decided that I'm going to have a look at my retro computer collection. Now, the criteria that I decided on to classify the computers as retro computers that I was going to look at is that they're pre-1995. I do have a number of other computers. I have a few laptops. I have a Windows XP computer. I have a mirrored drive door Power Mac G4. But today, I'm going to look at what I qualify as the true retro computers that I own. And I'm going to classify them on how much I use them and how much nostalgia they hold for me. The first computer I'm going to look at is my Atari XE GS. The XE GS was the last 8-bit Atari computer released, which was in 1987. It came with 64K of memory and was released as 2 sets. The basic set was just the game console and joystick. Like this, you could not access the computer side of the unit. The deluxe set also included a light gun and keyboard. Plugging in the keyboard unlocked the 8-bit computer hidden inside. As a child, I had almost no contact with the Atari 8-bit line of computers, except I think once when I was visiting a cousin of mine back in the mid-1980s. It's because of this that on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, I have to give this a 1 on the nostalgia scale. And I also only have 3 games for it, including Missile Command, which comes built in on the motherboard, which is one of the neat things about this. It has Missile Command built into it. But I only have the 3 games, and games are relatively expensive. I also don't have a disk drive or a tape drive, which are also relatively expensive. So without the saving and loading options and a lack of games, for the amount that I actually use this computer, I have to give it a 3. The next computer that I'm going to look at is my Apple IIc. Originally released in 1984, this was the 4th model of Apple II to come out. This was a more compact, portable version of the Apple II. In fact, the C in IIc stands for compact. The compact design was achieved by removing all of the expansion slots. Instead, building things like the 80-column card, a mouse control card, 2 serial cards, and a disk control card directly into the motherboard. Having the built-in disk control card allowed them to have a built-in disk drive. It was partly because of the lack of expansion slots that this computer missed its projected sales figures by a lot. My first encounter with Apple computers was back around 1980 when my mom was a teacher. She was allowed to bring one of the Apple II Plus computers home from her school on weekends and holidays. And when she did this, I played games like Oregon Trail for hours, and I taught myself how to code some BASIC. I really wanted an Apple computer of my own, and I finally got one in the late 1980s. I got an Apple II GS. And the Apple II line of computers is mostly compatible with each other, so playing on this Apple IIc computer really reminds me of those days. It's for this reason that I have to give it a 7 for nostalgia. Now, the 5 1/4 inch discs for these are fairly rare. They're expensive to get a hold of, and they don't always work when you get them. So I never really got to use this computer as much as I wanted to. Until recently, I picked myself up a disk emulator. Now, I play this machine almost every day. Usually I play games like Might and Magic or Ultima on it, but I do use it almost every day, so I have to give this an 8 for the amount that I use it. Now, I'll look at my TRS80 MC10. This little computer was released in 1983 with a standard 4K memory as an entry-level computer. You could buy a 16K memory expansion that plugged into the back of the computer. Unfortunately, this computer was commercially unsuccessful and was discontinued after only 1 year. Although I'm very familiar with the Tandy line of computers, I can honestly say that I'd never heard of the MC10 until I picked one up about a year ago. It's an unfamiliar computer in a very familiar computer line, and it's for this reason that I have to give it a 3 for nostalgia. It's a little computer with way too little memory, and it's got an absolutely horrible little chiclet-style keyboard. But there's just something about it. It's absolutely fascinating to see what you can program into it with such limited memory and to see what other people have managed to do with it. It's for this reason that I do use it fairly often. I'm actually give it about a 5 on the use scale, but this computer is truly proof of what amazing things people can do with very tight constraints. And finally, I'm going to look at my TRS80 Color Computer 2. Also, originally released in 1983, the Coco II was an updated version of the Coco I that had a smaller logic board and some minor bug fixes in the ROM. It also had a new graphics chip that gave the computer more functionality. The release of this computer proved to be very popular with hobbyists due to its rugged build quality and the excellent documentation available for the hardware, which made home modifying of these computers very common. The Coco II was the first computer that I ever owned. It was mine. I did not have to share it. And I spent hours upon hours typing in games from books and magazines wherever I could find them. I even tried to make a few games of my own, mostly unsuccessfully. And it's for this reason that this computer gets a 9 for nostalgia. And it was because of this computer that I discovered the fandom for these computers is still alive. There are Facebook pages. There are live weekly discussion shows like Coco Talk. There are in-person get-togethers like Coco Fest. There's a Discord page. These are all amazing things to check out if you're at all interested in these computers. There's even people still releasing new games for this platform. And I use this computer just about every day. And that is why this computer, for the personal usage, gets an 8. And this is my retro computer collection. Mind you, it's just the computers that I own. I also have a number of classic gaming consoles as well as a number of retro handhelds. Now, this may not be a large computer collection, but I don't buy retro computers just to own them. I buy them because they actually mean something to me, or because I find them truly interesting and want to learn how to use them. And I do use them. I use one of these computers almost every day. It's usually the Coco or the Apple. I hope you enjoyed this look at my retro computer collection. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. You know, that thing that everybody says in every single video. Seriously, liking, subscribing, and commenting will help my channel grow, so it would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, I have to sit here and decide which one of these computers I'm going to use now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.